So I was really surprised because I think Sunderland were in every department so much better than them. City are looking dangerous again, and that could disturb Arsenal, I think, later on in the season. It was very premeditated. Board and the owners of Chelsea will know that it's aimed at them.
Wayne, do you play Football Manager?
No, I used to. I used to play when I'm a few years older than you, and I used to always get Scott Sellers on a free every year. So yeah, I used to play. Don't play it anymore.
Yeah, because I was asking because I used to see Jose on that Amazon documentary. He had it on his laptop. That's why I thought.
Yeah, no, I think he's probably promoted a little bit. I think he does that, and in return they've got about 2,000 scouts, so I think he has access to use their scouts and for whatever team he goes to, because for the game, all the research they need to obviously have some good scouts on it. We've done something similar with DC United as well.
Okay, you plotting a potential career in management? Are you thinking of starting up?
I don't think anywhere will take me after some of my opinions on it. I tipped Crystal Palace to possibly win the league at the start of the season, so here we are.
Oh wow!
Yeah, there we go. But anyway, they didn't have a good time today either, amongst others.
No, they didn't, did they? Manchester City, Erling Haaland, Phil Foden doing it again. Let's talk about the football from the weekend. By the way, did you guys, Wayne, did you watch the Sunderland Newcastle game, the derby? How good was it?
Yeah, do you know what? I loved it. I think just the energy, the passion, the atmosphere. It's one of them games which I haven't watched many over the last few years where, you know, you wish you were there. The atmosphere seemed great. I loved the Sunderland doing the pitch at the end as well. Obviously getting Newcastle back for when they done it. But no, I thought Sunderland were really good. I thought Newcastle were poor. I don't know whether it was tactically, which I haven't seen them do much this season, where they sat deep in and let Sunderland come onto them, which I probably assume it was with the selection of Elanga and Anthony Gordon. But no, it was a great game, and Sunderland, I felt, deserved to win.
It's the kind of rivalries that make English football what it is, isn't it? Like
we've missed them. We've missed them games, and you know, you have big derbies throughout the country, and that's definitely up there with the passion from both sets of fans. So we've missed them games, and just happy it's back.
I love seeing like Sunderland versus Newcastle in the Premier League. That needs to be a fixture that happens every year. That's why I want both teams to stay up all the time, because it's like that.
Well, it looks like they will, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think, but I was one who feared for Sunderland, if I'm honest, at the start of the season. Obviously, I played against them last season, but I think the signings they've made, and I weren't familiar with quite a few of them, and they've come in, they've been excellent. The energy they're playing with, the quality as well. And Xhaka, it looks like he's the one who's putting all that together, and the leader in there. And so I think from the owner, it's quite young, and the manager, it's been very detailed what they've done, and it's paying off for them.
Micah Richards said on TV that potentially Xhaka was the signing of the season so far. Do you agree, Wayne?
Yeah, he has to be. Obviously, always known he's been a good player, played against him, and he went out to Leverkusen after Arsenal and done really well. And then when he signed, you're wondering, you know, is he coming back to England? Because he's never been the quickest, so I don't think that would affect him. But going in, I thought going into Sunderland, who potentially would struggle, it wouldn't be a good signing. But he's been incredible, and not just his leadership, but what I love today and throughout the season is his passes through the lines and getting the attacking plays on the ball, and his calmness and his ability to dictate the play and slow the game down when it needs to be, or speed it up. So no, for me, he's definitely been the sign of the season for sure.
I'll tell you what, let's bring in a couple of fans who I'm sure are feeling very contrasting emotions this evening. Chris Wynn, Sunderland fan, one of the hosts of the Hawaii, the podcast, and Lee Lawler. Thank you for actually coming on despite your team losing. From Newcastle Fans TV, Chris Lee, welcome along to the Wayne Rooney Show. Chris, I'll come to you first. You've just been listening in to what Wayne, Kay and I had to say about it. I imagine you echo all of that. Just how good was it?
I mean, well, for a start, I appreciate your pronunciation of Hawaii. That wasn't bad for a start, but no, I mean, it's one of them where it's just you almost don't know what to say because of everything around it, because of how much it means. And you would think, you know, going 10 unbeaten we'd get used to it. But no, we're not. You know, every time we get a result against them, it just means everything. And this one just feels hugely symbolic. You know, that if you just go, was it 3.5 years ago, we beat Wycombe in the League One playoff. Just over 2 years ago, Newcastle swatted us aside in the FA Cup. And we've had to come from that place where basically we were almost a laughingstock across football, not just in the North East. And we've come from that place, and we've come back where all week the discussion has been that the two sides are so evenly matched. And I think Wynn touched on it, that during the game, I think we just bossed them. This is symbolic. We've played them in playoff semi-finals in the past. We've played them in FA Cup quarterfinals in the past. But this is just a symbol of how far we've come, and that we're here to stay, and that it feels like there's a good era on the horizon for us.
Yeah, no, I agree. I completely agree. And I think if you go back to the playoff final, Sunderland were in a bad run of form, really. They weren't playing great towards the end of last season, and Sheffield United dominated the final, really. So they were actually quite lucky to win the final. But then since then, I remember I watched the game and I was in my car driving, and I remember the fans phoning in saying, "Oh, let's just enjoy today because we'll be straight back down." But then all of a sudden the signings, which they made, you know, I didn't know a few of them, but it just clicked. And the manager has been, I think what with the manager, he brings a calmness to it, because obviously with the atmosphere and the emotion around Sunderland, I think he brings a real calmness to it. And I met him after we played last season, and he's a really nice fella. And some managers you meet after the game, and you don't always think that, but he's a very nice fella and dead humble and respectful. And so I'm really pleased at what he's doing. And obviously having that derby back, I think, is massive for the Premier League.
Before we dive a little bit more into Sunderland and what's been so brilliant, Lee, I'm very conscious that you probably don't really want to sit here and hear people waxing lyrical anymore about Sunderland, but I was keen to get your perspective. You're shaking your head. Just what went wrong for Newcastle today?
Yeah, I think a lot went wrong. I mean, I came out the ground and I felt embarrassed to be a Newcastle fan. That's why I don't have me Newcastle top on, because I feel hurt at the same time. And it's been a while since we've felt like that. Coming out of the ground, I go all the home and away days. I just came out and thought, nah, get me out of here. And obviously we couldn't get out because the police were rooting us out a certain way. It's like, get me out of here, because obviously they're taunting we're, and you know, the police are holding them back and what have you. And look, it's good for the North East, don't get me wrong. It is great that Sunderland are back, because let's face it, we've laughed at them down the years and playing the likes of Grimsby and Accrington and Stanley for years upon years. But now that they are in the Premier League, look, it does hurt. And I just don't feel that Newcastle had the heart today. If we played Sunderland over ability, Newcastle would win every day of the week.
And that's not very Howe-like, is it? Eddie Howe's teams normally have heart. He normally taps into the emotion. So did that surprise you a bit?
Massively. I mean, even in the first half, Sunderland were crunching. They were literally just slap bang in the middle of the players. And I was thinking, where's Newcastle from that? And realistically, it didn't take until the 87th, 80th minute when Fabian Schär and Bruno Guimaraes wanted to start scrapping with people. It's like, well, where's that 10 minutes into the game? Yeah. Where's the heart? Where's the passion for it?
I think, sorry, just to jump in there. Sorry, I think I listened to Eddie Howe yesterday talking, and he was saying he was having to explain to some players about the history of this fixture and the passion of this fixture. And I don't know whether he's known that Sunderland were going to come with that, and whether he said, listen, let them come with it, but we have to stay composed to win the game. And he's give that message, let's keep our composure. Because that Newcastle performance, Newcastle being brilliant over the last few years, and that performance was unrecognisable to what you've seen with Newcastle throughout the last few years. So I was really surprised. I think both tactically and physically at Newcastle today, because I think Sunderland were in every department so much better than them.
I have to agree. I think our winger Zalanga has just not set the world alight. He was shocking. He was appalling. Anthony Gordon on the left side, he'll do well to get in the England side come next summer, because his form this season has also been poor. Valdemara, I mean, he scores at the wrong end. It's an absolute worldie of an own goal, which we can joke on about, but he didn't have any service today, and I know Eddie Howe tried to change it, and Eddie Howe has been criticised that his in-game tactics are not quite at that elite level, and you're just waiting for something to change. And yes, we had a little bit of a spur when he made that triple sub in that second half, but we didn't create enough to warrant to even score a goal. And I cannot sit here and say defend Newcastle, I cannot, because Sunderland deserved the 3 points today, and that hurts me saying that. Of course it is, being a Geordie and a Toon fan, but I have to be realistic and say fair play to Sunderland.
Does it worry you for the rest of the season, that performance?
Yes and no. It's like the previous 4 games we picked up 10 points from the last 4 games, so we started to show a little bit of form, and then bang, this happens. That's been our season all season. We need to bounce back, and the only way to do it is, luckily, we've got a game in midweek against Fulham in the Cup. That might soften the blow a little bit if we get through, and then we're in the semi-finals. Then we've got a couple of tough fixtures after that, like in Chelsea in the league and Man United away. So we've got to start picking up some points really, really fast, because, yes, I know the Premier League table is tight, but we've got to get on the run. If Newcastle want to be in the Champions League, we could lose another star player next summer.
See, I don't think Newcastle were as bad. I mean, that if it wasn't for that own goal, it could have easily stayed 0-0.
They just didn't have any clinical. They weren't very clinical. It never felt like they were going to score watching it. Did you not feel like that? That's how I felt watching it.
I felt like that.
It felt like they didn't want to score, because they set up from the very off. As soon as kickoff was taken, they went 4-5-1, and they sat inside their own half and just allowed us to come on. Every time Newcastle got the ball, they just didn't seem to even want to try and create. They didn't want to seem to keep the ball. It was almost kind of safety first. And they set out almost to say, right, well, let's keep it 0-0 and get the point and get out of here and move on to the cup game. And Wayne talked about the emotion. It was interesting to hear Xhaka standing next to Dan Ballard after the game with the interview. And he pointed at him and said, Dan Ballard and a few others who were around for that cup game talked to us all about the emotion about that game and how much that hurt. And I think they tapped into that, and the manager got them to tell them to say, this is how much it means when you're on the wrong side of it. Make sure this time you're on the right side of it. But like I said, I was so surprised about how Eddie Howe set up. But you've got to then say, well, okay, well, Newcastle set out to do that. But as Lee said, we were on top of them. At some point, they would have probably wanted to come out and take control of the game, but I just don't think we allowed it.
I thought your fullbacks handled, as I say, Alanga and Gordon brilliantly. Absolutely fantastic, because those two were just no product at all. And also, we didn't have anyone breaking through into the box to support Valdemara to create chances. Just, it was awful, man.
It was nice to hear Wayne at the beginning when you first started speaking, and you said, it was brilliant. It was a fantastic game, because in truth, technically, it was an awful game.
I was gonna jump in at that point and just say the first half wasn't great, was it? Like, the second half was better from a neutral point of view. Wayne,
yeah, no, but you could feel the anticipation. You could feel the how tense it was, and that's why I enjoyed it. And you could feel the atmosphere come through the TV and the speakers, and that's why I enjoyed it. And listen, we could sit here and say, you watch Man City or Arsenal and moving the ball from side to side, and a lot of good play, but just it was different. It felt like a bit more. I might be getting a little bit older now, but it felt like a game from the 90s where the quality weren't as high as we see today, but you knew that the passion was there, and that fight and drive was there. So that's why I enjoyed it. Not so much for the quality.
It's always it's nice seeing games like that again, where somebody puts in a tackle and stuff, and just shows you the temperature of the game.
Well, there wasn't that many from Newcastle, actually. I think Tonali was the first one to get booked.
He's shaking his head again.
Well, that's what it is. Take the yellow card, take the hit.
Yeah. Tonali got booked in the second half, and that was the first one. And I was sat there before the game, because I've been looking forward to this game all weekend. And I was speaking to Michael Carrick yesterday and his wife Lisa over it, and the excitement from everyone connected with obviously Newcastle and whatever. So he's been looking forward to the game all weekend, and I was thinking there's definitely going to be a red card today.
It's almost what you want, though, isn't it?
Yeah, and then it didn't obviously erupt. It didn't have to for Sunderland, but it didn't erupt till the last minute when the game was really gone for Newcastle.
Well, I think the best example was the Michele challenge with Dan Burn, where Dan Burn ended up having to go off injured, but it was full-blooded, and those two were two players who knew what it meant to go in for a challenge like that and win the ball, or just to get the best of it. But you saw Michele, he almost knew he wasn't going to get the ball, but still went in for the challenge and knew he was going to get there late, but he still knew that if he left one on him, it meant something.
Wayne, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about Sunderland, and in particular what the manager has done there. Did you manage against him at all?
Well, that was one of my only wins, I think. with Plymouth. Yeah, we played last season, and it was a good game actually. We won late on 3-2, but it's a different squad, different group of players, and different mindset. Last year they were very. If you look at the game today, they were in control of possession and a lot more quality on the pitch than they had last season. Where last season it was very much counter attack, and a bit what Newcastle's done today is how Sunderland were playing last season. And so yeah, but I think to go in, and I think he was his previous job, he was an analysis coach, I think, and he's gone into management and obviously got Sunderland promoted, which was incredible, from where Sunderland were to then go and do what he's doing in the Premier League. I think, if you're choosing manager this season right now, I think he's got to be up there. And I'd probably choose him over any other manager at the minute.
Can I just quickly say that what that game, he won his first 4 off the bounce when he first came in the Championship, and Wayne was the first manager to win a league game against Régis Le Bris.
It went off and we won, so that's why I remember it so much.
I didn't realise that as I was asking the question. Your face started to go, and I was like, "Oh no, don't tell me you had a really bad result against them that I didn't know about." Fortunately, it went the right way. But yeah, brilliant season so far for Sunderland. What can Sunderland achieve this season, Chris? Because I imagine, let's be honest, you must have come into the Premier League and just wanted to stay up.
You know what? We're on a bit of a magic carpet ride this season, because after that final whistle went at Sheffield United, we didn't know what would happen, because we were already behind in terms of the transfers, in terms of the transfer window, because every team who goes up via the playoffs is always kind of playing catch up. And the transfer of Enzo Maresca was a bit of a clue into what was going to happen into the transfer window. But everybody knew that Joe Bellingham was going to leave, which we thought was going to be a blow, and he went for 30-40 million. So we knew we were going to lose players, but the recruitment has just been incredible. You talked about Xhaka, and we've put legs around him. We've put Siddiqui, who I wouldn't be surprised in the next 18 months or something he moves.
The keeper's been brilliant as well.
Keeper's fantastic. But the beauty of it was that we looked around Europe and we took the gamble a year earlier than the big clubs would. So the likes of Siddiqui in Belgium, Roofs in Holland, and I'm trying to think, Diarra in France. So players like that who'd had one breakout season, and the big clubs were sniffing around them thinking, well, okay, we'll give them another season to make sure they can prove it. We just said, there's the money. How much do you want? We probably overpaid in some cases in terms of what they're maybe really worth in the market. And then we put Xhaka right in the middle of those 20, 21-year-olds in midfield and just said, we'll put the legs around you. You tell them where to go. Tell them where you want them. You stand there. You get them positioned right. Going back to the original question, where can we go? We're just enjoying it. And, talking about getting passports out and things like that and dreaming of European qualification, if that happens, then that would be a level above anything that we even imagined last summer. But whatever happens.
The challenge is going to come now, isn't it, when you lose the players? And so that's why I think it's really important that you just picked up the point that you have, because the next 4 to 6 weeks, I think, would be a real challenge for Sunderland. So if I was a Sunderland fan, I'd just be thinking, let's just stay in the division. I'm sure that was the target before the season, or it will have been. And if they do that, I think it's a massive achievement, because we've seen over the last few years, the amount of teams who come up and then go straight back down. So I think that'll be the target, I'm sure, for the owners and the manager at the minute.
Chris, thank you so much for joining us. Lee as well, especially to you, because it's easy to come on and speak when your team's won. But I imagine you just want to go to bed and forget it ever happened.
I just want to get Wednesday coming up now and forget about it. Hopefully beat Fulham and then soften the blow a little bit.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, both of you, and the best of luck for the rest of the season. Already looking forward to the next derby.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We already mentioned it. Not a great day for Crystal Palace. Manchester City winning away there to cut Arsenal's lead to 2 points at the top of the Premier League. 3-0 Man City won. Aston Villa a further point behind them. They beat West Ham 3-2 at the London Stadium. Wayne, you've said all season that you think Arsenal can do it. They need to do it, or they need to win something this season. What are you feeling like now? It feels like the last week or so there's been a bit of a shift.
Yeah, no, well, I mentioned a few weeks back, actually, I think Arsenal are still favourites to win the league, but it's going to be really interesting if City are doing what they're doing and they stay close to them and or even take over them. But because then the memories of the Arsenal players and of Mikel Arteta of having the lead before and City or Liverpool at the time as well coming to snatch it off them will come flooding back. So it's going to be insane. I think Arsenal are still favourites, but City are looking good. I think
City in January, Wayne, though, man. City in January, they turn it on. And it's
muscle
scary.
memory, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And they don't, it looks like you just said, Kelly, muscle memory. It's like they know that they start slow and they know once they get into January and they know how to get the results and to grind it out. And you're looking at somebody like Haaland. I was looking at a stat today. He's got 16 appearances, 17 goals, 3 assists. Those are crazy numbers, man. Like, if he stays on form like that, I can see City just taking it again.
Yeah, no, I still think Arsenal with the squad. I think that for me they're still the favourites, but City are looking dangerous again and looking good again. And not that they haven't looked good, but I think that could disturb Arsenal. I think later on in the season. I hope it doesn't, because I'd love to see Arsenal win it over City. But that would be my concern if I was an Arsenal fan.
Do you think the Arsenal players are thinking about the past and when they have let it slip, and that can seep into the squad as well?
Yeah, I'm sure they'd have to. They'd be crazy not to, and I don't even think they'd want to. But I think that will just pop up. And if you've seen Haaland score all the time and City winning games and picking up results, and that pressure becomes even more of trying to win that first Premier League title for 20 odd years. Arsenal haven't won the Premier League title, so that pressure becomes even greater, and Man City just sitting there behind them will create an enormous amount of pressure for them Arsenal players, especially if we're in this situation with 5 games to go, 6 games to go, where Arsenal are 3 points above Man City, then I'd be worried for Arsenal.
Word on Villa at West Ham. What a game. I really enjoy watching Aston Villa at the moment. Not only are they in ridiculous form, but they just always seem to give themselves a mountain to climb. I imagine as a fan, it's an absolute nightmare. But for neutrals, Kate, it's pretty good, isn't it? And it also shows, even when they go behind, they're managing to win. It's a pretty good trait, no?
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show Unai Emery and what a fantastic job he's doing as well. Like, at the start of the season, they had a few games where I think it was the first 4 games were absolutely horrible for them. But ever since then, they've had such an upturn in form and they look amazing. And that goal from Morgan Rogers today, I think it was a third. It was absolutely insane. What a banger that was. I really enjoy watching them at times. And I honestly think that they could push for a Champions League position properly this time. They only missed out on the last day of the season last season. And I definitely think that they could be one to watch out for.
Are they in the title race, Wayne?
No.
Probably.
No.
Oh, okay. I didn't even finish my sentence.
No. I think if we're realistic, the Aston Villa. Listen, I think as Kay said, what the manager's doing is incredible. I think you've got to credit the players as well, because in the summer they were losing. They lost a couple of players or didn't re-sign. Obviously, with the likes of Rashford and who else was on loan? There was another one on loan. He didn't re-sign, and the fans weren't happy. And then they started. I think the first 4 games didn't score a goal in the first 4 games, and they were down near the bottom of the table. And the players have really helped turn that round. And I think Unai Emery's management of Europe and the Premier League has been really good, because he has rested players in Europe as well, where they're doing well also. He's rested players and kept players fresh for the league games as well, and it's paying off, and he knows better than anyone how to do that especially in the Europa League, with managing your squad. I think he's won in Europe 4 or 5 times, I think so. But in terms of a title race, then there's no chance they're going to get above Man City or Arsenal.
Do you think if Unai Emery had stayed at Arsenal and got the same backing Arteta had, he'd have won the league by now?
No, I think there's different factors as well, because he was the first one after Arsene Wenger to go in, and same with David Moyes going in after Alex Ferguson. So that's a huge pressure in itself, and so I think that was a difficult one, but I don't think that Arsenal job is a true reflection on him as a manager and what we've seen. And in my opinion, he's probably the second best manager after Guardiola in what he's doing in the Premier League. Arteta's doing fantastic as well. So yeah, but yeah, I don't think you can judge him on that Arsenal one.
And we'll keep in with the topic of managers, and a manager that won this weekend, Enzo Maresca. Chelsea beat Everton by 2-0 on Saturday. But since then, all of the talk really has been about Maresca's press conference, because in response to a question about Malo Gusto, Maresca said, "Since I joined the club, the last 48 hours have been the worst because many people didn't support us." When asked if he meant people within Chelsea, he replied, in general, cue everyone trying to work out who he means, what's going on behind the scenes at Chelsea. So let's try and dig into it a little bit more. BBC football correspondent Nizaar Kinsella joins us. Nizaar, this is quite the story, isn't it, in terms of everyone wondering what on earth is going on?
Yeah, it is. I was at Stamford Bridge and I was sort of calm, talking about Cole Palmer, waiting to celebrate him coming back to scoring form again. And then he goes and drops that. And like you say, about Malo Gusto, it's a question about Malo Gusto, who got a goal and assist in the match. So, yeah, I guess like the big question is, who is he talking about? He is being deliberately cryptic. So bear with me. I'm going to work backwards here. Is that all right? I'm going to work backwards.
As long as we get to the point we need to get to, go for it.
I think we all know who he's talking about.
Yeah. Well, Wayne, I'm going to rule out who he's not talking about, just so everyone knows clearly who he is talking about. So he said he loves the fans, right? So, right, he's clear. He's not talking about them. He also went and laboured a point about praising the players. And he sort of praised the players by saying, we've got some results without Cole Palmer, without Caicedo. These guys are our best players. We're getting results. So the other players who aren't experienced have done unbelievable. And then it leaves just the media and Chelsea's hierarchy left over. Now, I don't think he really cares what the media thinks. Like, dealt with him a lot. Don't really think he's bothered about us. And also, I don't think we've been that critical. They've been on a 4-game winless run. It was a bad spell, but they got back to winning ways. So, yeah, after beating Everton, back in a position of strength, then it's got to be really about something internally that's annoyed him. And he's gone into that press conference going, I want to prove a point. And he's made it sort of, a message that seems to be about Chelsea.
Go on then, Wayne. What was your take on it when you heard it?
Do you know what? I really like managers who speak their mind, and then for me, this is very similar to the Mo Salah situation last week, where it was very premeditated in what he said. He knows exactly what he's saying. He knows who he's aiming at, and whoever the board and the owners of Chelsea will know that it's aimed at them. So I like managers who speak their mind. And the only issue I have is, well, not issue. The only thing I'd say is he needs to be very careful. But I do like a manager. It's something which has clearly happened, and a disagreement, or whether he feels his job was under pressure and he doesn't think it should be because of the 2 trophies he's won, the points they've picked up, and a lot of Italian managers and players are very passionate, and I'm sure that's exactly what's happened.
Do we have any idea, Nizaar, what he could be getting at?
Yeah, I think like looking at the history, and I think Wayne really is sort of read between the lines and got the right answer a little bit there. But I think that there's a lot of pent-up frustration. The 4-game winless run came at a period where Cole Palmer wasn't really fit. Moises Caicedo was suspended. There was a lot of sort of genuine, real excuses why Chelsea, might not have won those games. So I think that, Maresca got a lot of criticism still, though, for rotating too much. I mean, we've heard all that, haven't we, that he rotates too much, his substitutions, things like that. But again, it's sort of a club policy that he uses the whole squad because they've got this young squad. Maresca's doing a job for the club, and I think that his sort of feeling was he's getting all this criticism, and why isn't anyone protecting me from this criticism? We've seen also he's only in the second year of his Chelsea career. He's won 2 trophies, got top 4. He thinks he's got a lot of currency in the bank as well. So I think he feels like, he's a project manager. This is a unique project around young players. Maybe he needs a bit of protection. We saw Arteta and Klopp. They didn't do great in their first few years at Arsenal and Liverpool, and they went on to build dynasties, or certainly Arteta's on the way, and Jurgen Klopp certainly did. So I think he views himself like that.
I don't think he'll get the protection now that he's come out and done what he's done. I think that'll be very difficult for the club to come and protect him, which is a shame. But I think that's what's going to happen.
But also, does he not know what club he's managing? Like, I mean, Chelsea are in the habit of sacking managers when, like, even if they've been successful. I know it was under a previous regime, but even Pochettino, when he went, he wasn't exactly like in relegation form or whatever. It was decent. Like, you should know the club that you're at and the history that they've had with the way they treat managers. I think I don't know why he's come out with this outburst.
It's good that you bring up Pochettino as well, Kay, because Pochettino's in very, very similar situation. I thought he was onto something. They were doing okay at the end of that season, but he ended up not agreeing with the ownership and they sort of pushed him out. So he wasn't really carrying out the job, and it shows you there is that danger. These guys, you come in to do a job. They've hired you you're an employee in their mind. You do a job. We give you the platform. We give you the players, and you deliver it. Like, it might be strange that we have the youngest squad in the league, but go and deliver that, and we think it will be successful eventually. You just need to stick around and do the job and toe the party line.
Okay, let's try and find out what the fans are thinking about all this. Plenty to talk about. Alex Harris from Chelsea Fan TV joins us. So I imagine you were out and about, perhaps on your way home from the game or something, Alex, when you were hearing this outburst. What was your reaction?
I was surprised, to be honest with you. I was surprised. It had a very positive reaction from all the fans. I do interviews after the game, and I was very happy. It was one of the nicer games. I thought 5 games in a row to not win, we're going to start having that conversation. Me personally, I am a fan of Maresca. I wasn't last season, but then you look at all the boxes ticked, you say, okay, top 4, Conference League, Club World Cup. I don't see anything to complain about except the fact that at times it does look a little bit boring, the football. I think we can all appreciate that, but it doesn't matter if you're winning trophies, and that's ultimately, I think, where my head is at. I don't want to look at us the same way I did under Pochettino, where I appreciated we weren't good enough, but at least it was fun to watch. I think we've actually got a winning manager on our hands, so I can appreciate that he's unhappy in terms of the backing in certain sense. He needed a centre-back. He didn't get it. He didn't get backed last January. I think that'll probably be the same this window as well. So I empathise with Maresca, to be honest with you. But at the same time, if you want to keep your job, stop talking about this stuff.
He's got a press conference on Monday, actually, because they're playing the Carabao Cup at Cardiff in midweek. It's going to be interesting to see how he plays this one now, isn't it, Wayne?
Yeah, well, I'm sure he'll will today at some point we'll have had a meeting with the owners, because they'll know obviously if it's aimed at them or not, which I'm sure it was. So I'm sure there will be in conversations today over there, and but I just don't feel he's a manager who's going to backtrack. I think he's got a passion about him and a drive about him, and so yeah, whether he's heard things where the club might want him out, and so he's started to be proactive and go on the front foot. You don't know why he's done it, but it's very strange. But I think it's, at the end of the day, you've got to respect the owners of the football club. As you said before, rightly said, they employ you, they bring you in, so it's their way, really. You've got to go in and respect that, and I feel he's maybe gone a bit against that, and it's going to be interesting now to see what he says and how long this is allowed to rumble on for.
What do the Chelsea fans expect from the season, Alex, under Maresca? And it sounds like you're quite happy with him.
Me personally, I'm a fan. I've been converted. So, I've gone.
Oh, so you originally weren't?
Oh, I hated him. I was not a fan of Maresca at all. Outwardly, I hated him. And
why? What's he done to turn this around?
Well,
why didn't you like him?
Number 1, he came from Leicester. Number 2, I was a fan of Poch. So I was a little bit upset that we sacked him, because although 6th isn't good enough, it's a lot better than 12th, which is where we were before. So I saw that as a progression. And I feel the same this season. I feel like we've progressed. So as long as we're progressing, how can I criticise something that's getting better and better? So then you have to have a conversation about progressing in the Champions League. We don't have the Club World Cup, so I need an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup. I think that's like it's an expectation that needs to be there at a club like Chelsea. And I think that Maresca's proven that in cup competitions he's more than capable. So, I mean, we need at least one domestic cup, and then just a respectable campaign in the Champions League, pushing further up in the title race. But I mean, we're not in the race, are we? We're a top 4 team, but we want to be comfortable this year. So I think really, if we're having a title discussion, it's going to be next season, at least from a fan perspective. If you're expecting Chelsea to win the league this season, I don't really understand the logic, because last year we were able to rotate with 2 11s. You had Dewsbury Hall starting one week, you had Palmer starting the next week. It's a little bit different. So I empathise with Maresca, but at the same time, like, there's a standard that needs to be set. And I think we have a better squad as well. I don't think we've got worse. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident. And I think the expectation needs to be better than last season, as simple as that.
Nizaar, enjoy that press conference on Monday if you're going to be in it. I can imagine it's going to be a bit like Arne Slot's press conferences last week, all about Mo Salah. It's going to be all everyone trying to get more out of Maresca, isn't it?
Yeah, he's opened up Pandora's box now, so it's going to be a hot ticket going to his press conferences all of a sudden. So yeah, I'm sure you guys will be watching my questions.
But Arne Slot was delighted when he heard that.
Yeah, something else for us all to talk about instead. Nizaar, Alex, thank you for coming on the Wayne Rooney Show. Great to get your
Thanks
thoughts.
for having us.
And that's where we're going to wrap the show today. Wayne, anything wild and wacky going on in your world this week? There's normally something.
No, the kids break up on Wednesday for the holidays, so just with the kids this weekend and getting ready for the madness when they're off.
Yes, Christmas madness is upon us. Kay, you're where are you at the moment? You look like you're in a
I'm in a teenager's bedroom. I'm with family, so yeah, it isn't as bad as it sounds. Yeah, but no, yeah, I've got a Christmas party to go to, and yeah, just a few other bits and pieces to do. But yeah, everything usually winds down by this time of the year. But I've been getting a lot more work emails. And I'm just like, guys, can we just...
Inconvenient, isn't it?
Yeah, can we just like circle back in January like we've done for the past 100 years or so? But yeah, hopefully looking forward to a bit of time off soon.
The pod is out as usual next Friday, but if you want to get in the Christmas spirit, make sure you download the BBC Sounds app, because the next few episodes will be on BBC Sounds first before anywhere else. You can watch the Wayne Rooney Show on the BBC Sport YouTube and the BBC iPlayer, or listen on BBC Sounds.